What is up, Steelers Nation? Thank you so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. I'm Noah Strackbine, joined always by my main man, Jacob Punturi. Find us on youtube.com/All Steelers Talk. Check us out anywhere you get your podcast. The Pittsburgh Steelers are headed to the playoffs, my friend. AFC North champions in a game that was electrifying. That was the most fun I have had watching a Pittsburgh Steelers game in a long time. I think it was the best atmosphere they have had in possibly years, and it finished in the most dramatic fashion in a classic showdown between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens, only to begin the dance. Postseason is here. The Steelers are 0-0. Every other team is 0-0. And from here on out, it is win and go home or go home for every NFL team, especially the Pittsburgh Steelers. How you feeling on this Victory Monday for the Pittsburgh Steelers? A playoff Victory Monday.
A playoff Victory Monday. I'm feeling good. It's been, a night of little sleep coming off of covering the game. You are, you know better than anyone, as you are thousands of miles away off of 0 minutes of sleep. But, you work through, you take a little nippity nap if you need to, you get back out there because it's a Victory Monday. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling refreshed, even if the brain is not going at 100% capacity like many of the Steelers were in week 18. We soldier on.
Yes, sir. Yes, we do. The Pittsburgh Steelers. Look, yesterday or last night, I should say, was everything you were looking for in a Week 18 game that decides who's going to the postseason and who's sticking around or who's going home. That was the classic. It's the first do or die Week 18 matchup the AFC North has ever seen. And that is exactly what they should have brought. That is exactly the outcome that should have happened. But I will start with a question that I think a lot of people have on their mind right now. I know a lot of Baltimore Ravens fans probably have on their mind, but it would go both ways no matter how it ended. The Steelers win off of a missed field goal by the Baltimore Ravens. They are a missed field goal away from not going to the postseason. If you ask Mike Tomlin, doesn't make a difference. If my aunt had male parts, should be my uncle. Shout out to Burt Lawton, who immediately, as that's being said, goes, all right, we're going to finish it with that one. That's the end of this press conference. Thank you very much. To Mike T, it doesn't matter. To the Pittsburgh Steelers, it doesn't matter. Does it matter to you? Does it impact how you see the Steelers going into the postseason after last night?
A little bit, right? And let's, I have to give the Steelers credit. Like, that was just an impressive victory. Was it the best effort start to finish in a masterclass on both sides of the ball? No. But who cares, right? Like, you go in there and while I don't love, I wouldn't have used Tomlin's terminology there to express the sentiment. Message received.
Yes.
A win is a win on week 18 when you are fighting for your life. And subsequently, once you get to the postseason, it does not matter if you scratch it out by a single point, by a missed field goal. If however you get there and keep advancing, you take it, and you're not sitting there selling yourself short. The Pittsburgh Steelers have been a team that has underperformed and underwhelmed so many times. I think it is okay in this moment, first AFC North championship since 2020, to be like, you know what? I don't care how it happened. I'm just happy that it did. And I have to agree with them for right now. Now, do I think that they are Super Bowl contenders because of an barely squeaked out victory over the Baltimore Ravens? No, but I do think they might have a little bit of swagger and a little bit of momentum as they host that first game of Wild Card Weekend against the Houston Texans. So a little bit here, I think, is my overall answer. And how can you not, after they are, they could have responded in a terrible way coming out of Week 17 to get the job done. So you got to be a little bit encouraged by what you saw.
I agree. And you could take away the ending and look at everything that transpired before it and go, the Steelers should have lost that game. The Steelers go into this early. I'm texting you going, I cannot believe that I am going to get on a flight to Vegas and get off, and Mike T is going to be resigned from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, I can't believe that this is what's going to happen here. And then they fight, they claw. And I think that's what we saw. It was the first time. I said it earlier today. I'll continue to say it. The Pittsburgh Steelers all season long have struggled to find that fourth quarter, we are the guys, we will win this game fight. They have struggled to find that. They got it. Last night it was there. And it was great to watch, because that's what you need in the playoffs. Going into the postseason, you want to know what wins games? It's not being an utterly dominant team. This is about who shows up and as the best football team that day. That's what the postseason is. Your records are out the door. You show up and have a bad week one time, it's over. People say, and a lot of people said it already, the Denver Broncos aren't scary because they didn't look good against backups the other day. Well, if the Denver Broncos show up in full force, they're the scariest football team maybe in the NFL. If the Pittsburgh Steelers show up and do what they did last night, they can beat teams in the playoffs. That's a real thing that could happen. It's about who shows up. And I think what they did from start to finish, even ignoring the kick at the end, you're going, this team had enough fight to claw themselves back and win a football game that they shouldn't have won multiple times throughout this football game, and they walked away winners. I do have to pause and tell you, because I did not describe this to you. You want to know what the locker room was like last night? Because it was the coolest of all time.
Of course.
It was kind of surreal to, and you know, I walked in my house to pick up my wife, and she's like half asleep, and I'm wired, because you walk in, first off, you experience that, the moment of like, this game just ended. Holy crap. What was that? Then you go into the locker room, people are smoking cigars, dude. Everybody's smiling. The music's bumping. It is one big giant party immediately. I mean, Alex Highsmith was double fisting Stokes as he's just sitting there. It was a great time. Great time. Crazy environment. And then you talk to people like Kenny G. Hey, how do you settle yourself back down? Tomorrow morning, this settles ourselves. That's essentially what they all said. It's like, this is it. This is the, like, we want to experience this over and over and over again. And it was pretty awesome. It was pretty crazy to say I went from a locker room in Pittsburgh that was partying as AFC North champs to being in Vegas within 12 hours. And I just don't think, I think if you wrote a movie about that, Wolf on Wall Street would be in the title somewhere. I don't know where, but it was pretty cool. The Steelers are looking for that momentum, just to kind of, you know, get back on track here. The Steelers are looking for that momentum. I think they can find it. What's your outlook on Monday night? And I have to ask the obvious question here. Monday Night Football at home, Acrisure Stadium. I brought this up to you a couple of weeks ago. I'll bring it up again. The Steelers haven't lost at home on Monday night in 40 years. Does it add a little bit of like okay, you know, maybe type of situation to this game?
Well, yeah, of course it does. Right now, it feels like, you know, to use some WWE phrasing, you know, it's like the streak versus streak situation here, right?
Yes.
Like we are now in year 10 since the Steelers' last playoff victory with Mike Tomlin. And then you go back 23 consecutive Monday Night Football victories at home. Something's got to give, right? Like, again, to use this WWE terminology, if when Jim Ross is setting up this banger of a match, you're going, something's got to give here, folks. And it's true, because you have to have a little bit of hope. If you were pleased with what you saw in any capacity, and there's things to not like about the Steelers win, but there were so many things to like, and especially I'll use a nice word here for your Monday, a stick-to-itiveness. The fact that they kept coming and they kept moving and they kept returning to a great level even after they were experiencing setbacks, like, that's what you want to see. That is what's encouraging. So yeah, this playoff drought could easily continue, right? Like, maybe the emotions and the euphoria are at an all-time high right now after they clinched the AFC North. But this team can, for some reason, has a really hard time being beaten at home on Monday Night Football. I have a little bit of hope here, and I think it is one of the most intriguing matchups entering this entire contest.
It's so crazy to think that the Houston Texans Pittsburgh Steelers is like the game to watch. It's like, God, put that one on Monday night because that one's electric. That one could go. That could be crazy. That could be the one. They're not wrong. I think the Monday night thing factors in. I also think this. You're going to go up against a team that looks red hot on defense, but has had their moments of struggle on offense. The Steelers offense, you take away 3 busted coverages. You take away Jalen Ramsey trying to jump a route and it coming back to bite him right in the butt. You take away Jalen Ramsey pretty much sleeping on a play. He's done that a lot the last 2 weeks. And you take away Kyle Duggar getting absolutely toasted because he doesn't know what the hell's going on. And Zay Flowers is going, I'm over here, I'm wide open. Throw the football to me. And the Steelers defense looks crazy. And truthfully, the Patrick Queen touchdown pass, I don't even chalk that up to anything other than that's Lamar Jackson. Like, that's why Lamar Jackson wins MVPs,
100%.
You're getting Keanu Benton, Alex Highsmith pancaked. You're not avoiding that. You have half of a back, and you're just like, nah, I got it. Don't even worry about it. Finding Zay Flowers on Patrick Queen, which at that moment, he could have been on me. You know what I mean? I could have been guarding Zay Flowers at that point in the play. You give up, you subtract those 3 plays. The Steelers defense has looked great the last 2 weeks. Great. And the Browns don't really count, but the Ravens certainly do. And you could look at the stats and say, maybe the oh, you getting these textings going on in my thing? Not at all.
No. I definitely got some dinging. I assumed it was just my own phone on the back.
Definitely
on the backside.
Oh
my gosh, no.
What?
No, sorry. I was just being dramatic.
Oh, you got me. You take away, or you look at both halves of Derrick Henry, and it's a prime example. 112 yards in the first half, not great. 15 yards in the second half, pretty fantastic. I think the Steelers could turn this into a defense versus defensive battle, and I think that's up for grabs. I think anybody at that point, it's Aaron Rodgers versus CJ Stroud, who could walk away the winner. We'll see what happens. How much confidence does DK add to that equation? You're getting DK back. He's fired up. Calvin Austin, making plays. And let's acknowledge this one, okay? I don't know if I was the only one sitting there having my where is Pat Freiermuth glasses on, but I saw the shift. I saw that Jonnu Smith is not on the field anymore because Pat Freiermuth is staying on the field shift. And I loved every second of it. I loved every second of that. You get a little Calvin. Hopefully they learn from their mistakes in Jonnu and Pat. They keep Pat out there. Then you get DK. What's the DK factor add to the Pittsburgh Steelers right now?
Well, I think it contributes to that. Oh, little ding in the ear.
I'm going to figure it out. I got you.
Yeah, you're good, brother. It adds to the confidence in the locker room. I mean, you were there. I was getting, we all were seeing what was coming out of the locker room post game. It seemed like everyone, and I'm generalizing here, everybody had something to say and was really eager to bring it to the fact that DK Metcalf was coming back tomorrow. And I think that speaks to just, again, it might not make a huge difference defensively because we are talking about a Houston Texans team that allowed the fewest yards per game this year. I think they were top 5 in rushing defense and passing defense, second best turnover differential in the NFL. In terms of just how does this individual shift the game matchup, it still is in the favor of the Texans, in my opinion, because their defense is so stout and stingy. That being said, the fact that they survived and now the Steelers survived and now they get their best offensive playmaker back, what that does for your mentality going into a week of preparation, the sort of confidence and the optimism that brings and instills. You cannot undersell that at all. I think that is the biggest thing. And now Yes, maybe Calvin Austin is feeling better after he comes up big in the clutch. Maybe Pat Freiermuth is feeling better about his role within the team, and Arthur Smith is recognizing who those playmakers are in these clutch moments. And then you have your guy who draws all the heavy matchups, all the attention from the defense. You have your full arsenal at your disposal now. Like, again, within the coaching staff, within the locker room, that confidence level has to be at a 10 out of 10 right now. And I think that is the biggest factor in how that might affect this game.
I agree. You get confidence, and then a guy that adds, like, that's what DK brings. DK is an energy guy. He is a cool, calm, and collected, all business character. He said he watched the game alone in his house last night. He just sat in the basement. Could you? I don't know about. I pictured DK sitting there, pitch black,
with a bag of Skittles.
Bag of Skittles, dude, just in the dark, TV just glaring in his face, watching this game, zero emotion, ready for the opportunity. You know, I mean, DK to me feels like a guy that's going to be a man on a mission coming back from this one, on top of A-Rod, on top of Calvin, and to touch on Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron at the beginning of last night compared to Aaron at the end of last night were two totally different human beings. I think Aaron at the beginning of that was, you know, a little bit like, oh, I don't really know where the confidence is, and I don't really know what's going on. And I think by the end of that game, he was going, I want to do this one more time. Like, I want to make this run. You know, you kind of felt, I don't know if you watched the post game on the field interview, but I caught it while I was sitting in the airport, and he like almost got emotional talking about what was happening on the field. And you just saw it in the eyes. To bring a guy like that and then add his top receiver in DK, who brings that fire and that passion, who's coming off in his head a situation that he did not deserve. I mean, it's got to add something, you know? It's got to add the juice to say, there it is. I can feel like you got more thoughts. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even enjoy complimenting Aaron Rodgers, right? But his performance yesterday was fantastic. I think the first couple of series felt like the Pittsburgh offense was kind of stuck in that Cleveland game in week 17, where they were really worried about the pocket collapsing. Rodgers did not want to take a sack, did not want to give up that field advantage. I'm sure there was such a stress going into that game about like how let's just punt, let's just flip the field if we need to. Points are going to come at a premium until things kind of opened up in the fourth quarter. But those first few drives, you could just feel that sort of timidness from Rodgers and company, and then it just seemed to kind of calm down. And then, you know, we see his best offensive passing performance of the season. That, like, the way that everything sort of came together and started just moving forward, like it was a fantastic game from Aaron Rodgers. I saw a stat from the broadcast last night that said, I think it was Aaron Rodgers' first like go ahead touchdown or game winning touchdown in the final minutes in like 6 or 7 years or something like that. So that's got to feel, you know, again, like vintage 4-time MVP. The reason you bring Aaron Rodgers in is to do these things in the final moments in the clutch. He delivered once again. So it is, for the first time, the Pittsburgh Steelers, since Ben Roethlisberger was here, they have a quarterback who can truly deliver in the clutch. And I'm not talking about Kenny Pickett against the Raiders. You know what I mean?
That's what as crazy as it sounds, that's what I picture every time. I picture of like a Steelers haven't done like a 2-minute successful 2-minute drive in a while. You know, that's what I would picture, is Kenny Pickett throwing a Christmas Eve touchdown to Pat Freiermuth in the negative 40-degree weather. People paid to go see Kenny Pickett play football in negative 40-degree weather. Shout out to KP, man. Shout out to KP. Let's ask the big question here, okay? The AFC playoff picture is the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Houston Texans, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Buffalo Bills, the New England Patriots, the Los Angeles Chargers, and the Denver Broncos. The Steelers play the Houston Texans. They would need both other wildcard teams, the Buffalo Bills and the Chargers, to win those games in order to get a second home playoff game. Then it's Denver or whoever. From there, it's so hard to predict. The Steelers are probably dead last into the rankings of the AFC playoff picture. but what is your confidence level? How many teams can they realistically take out if given the opportunity and playing at their best? You know what I mean? I don't want to make this unrealistic. Let's say what it is. The Steelers walk into a game and play at their best. Who are they capable of taking out? Because that's what it's going to take. This is not going to take a half-hearted, they were kind of good, but kind of not good performance. Like, this is the playoffs. These teams are very good. There's a reason that at 10-7 or 9-8 or whatever, the Steelers didn't have a chance to make the playoffs. It was either win another game or go home. You got to play your best football. If they play their best, what teams are you confident that they got a shot against in the postseason?
This might be crazy. You might think I'm absolutely nuts for saying this, but I feel like you might also agree in your heart of hearts. Anyone, now that they're in, I think they have a shot if they're playing their best, right? And then that's the caveat that you provided here. It's not, do what you did in week 18 against the New England Patriots in a rematch. I'm not taking the Steelers, right? The Steelers play their best. They limit those explosive plays on defense. They continue to run the ball effectively, target their playmakers with DK Metcalf involved. I don't know how you can say definitively they have no shot, right? Because crazier things happen. The NFL is absolutely bonkers. Getting in has been wild, and I've doubted them the entire time. I'm not saying I'm going to just reverse course, just now that they're in, but I think I have seen enough to feel confident enough to say that they have at least a shot playing their best against any team in the AFC. Am I telling you to go bet on them to go win the AFC and go to the Super Bowl? No, I think that's unlikely. I think it's very unlikely still. But, they're playing their best. I feel like every team in the playoffs can feel that way right now.
I
maybe not
agree.
The Panthers.
Maybe not the Panthers. Maybe not the Panthers. I got a buddy who said, "Yo, Carolina get in?" I said, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, I'm going to go to the game." I was like, "You should. Wear a San Francisco jersey. It'll be a good time." I agree with you. I wouldn't bet on them. I don't even know if I'm ready to pick them over the Houston Texans this week, and I'll make that decision on Friday. But where I stand today, the Steelers have shown me in 3 of the last 4 games that they are capable of playing really good football. You know what I mean? Like really good team effort, figure out your flaws football. And that's what's important here is the Steelers have flaws. They are not a flawless football team. They're far from it. But they have a tendency of, let's figure this out and figuring it out. They've done that a couple of times this season, and they've done it 3 of the last 4 weeks this season. And to me, that's the right time. That's the right time to be figuring things out. That was my to-go this morning is the Steelers are learning lessons at the right time. And that's fine. That's how you pull this thing out. Now you got to play nearly perfect football in terms of your standard. You can't walk in there and say, we're going to be flawless, but you also can't walk in there and say, we're going to have a bad 3 quarters. No, you're not going to win football games doing that. You got to go out there and from start to finish, you have to try your absolute best and play as near perfect as you possibly can to walk away winners in this one. I think I agree with you. The way we sit here today, I think that every team in the AFC, if playing their best football, has an opportunity to compete with the other. And I will lump the Steelers into that. And that's exciting because that means that truly anything is possible in this run. And, we'll see what happens. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think a part of this too is like you look at who they would have to go through and you're like, well, maybe the Patriots are way better than they were in week 3, but the Steelers beat them. So you can like hang a little bit of confidence off there. You look at the Denver Broncos and they meet, my requirements for a Super Bowl team in terms of the defense is better than the offense. But that also means you got a guy in Bo Nix who like makes good plays and delivers wins. But you also look at someone as, the person who, if you beat, the entire game goes to poop. So there's the top threats. I don't feel like top threats. It just feels so wide open, and I think that is a huge part of this conversation as well. And again, like this is everything going right. This is the Steelers coming out here and Aaron Rodgers throwing for 295 yards again, and Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell both picking up 100 yards from scrimmage, and DK Metcalf doing the same. And so, there's a lot of things that have to go right in order to meet these parameters. But if it all happened, yeah, there's a shot.
There's a shot. There's a shot. The window's open. The Steelers are dancing, and they're fired up. And I think that the emotions, again, like everybody, I laughed about it all of last week. Monday I'm Steelers suck. Saturday I'm Steelers are winning the Super Bowl. And that's because I get to stand there and watch them practice all week long. And I get to watch the vibes in the building, and I get to talk to these players. And there's never a moment of like, yeah, we suck. This is terrible. This is just awful. Team can't wait for the season to be over. There's just never that moment. And last night in that locker room, I was sitting there. I walked out of it. I was like, okay, let's take a moment. Let's breathe it out. But the emotions are high. Maybe it's the secondhand cigar smoke, but the emotions are high.
It would have been headache city in there, man.
I'm not going to lie to you. I looked at Mason McCormick. I said, you got an extra one of those? He said,
you're just like taking a toot off of like people's cigars. It's like,
thanks, brother. Appreciate you. Alex, toss that other one over there. TJ. Then I went over to the press conference. TJ was like, I got out of there as fast as possible. And I was like, ooh, totally forgot that your best player just had lung surgery 2 weeks ago. So you should probably, that was a good idea. That was
dude can barely process oxygen right now, and they just took all of it out of the room. That's crazy. There it is. Good for him.
After 60 minutes of full contact football, we're just gonna light up real fast. Full load of cigars. It's a good time. It's a good time. All right. With that said, guys, that's everything on our agenda. We're gonna take a quick break. On the other side of it, we're gonna start answering all of your questions. We'll be back in 30 seconds.
Pittsburgh, this one's for you. From the voices behind all Steelers talk comes Black and Gold apparel, your go-to for bold, fan-driven merch that reps the city, the Steelers, and everything in between. Whether you bleed black and gold or just love that Pittsburgh grit, we've got something for you. It's more than a podcast. It's a community. And thanks to your support, we're proud to bring the passion from our mics to your closets. Gear up, stand out, and show the world what real fans look like. Shop now at blackandgoldapparel.myshopify.com.
All righty. Shout out to our super chatters. Shout out to our members. Can't thank you enough. What are you laughing at?
A comment that you should not read, but at least not out loud. Okay. But it made me giggle.
It made you giggle. Speaking of the comment sections, it reminded me of one thing. Is a priest splashing holy water on the field in the end zone that the Baltimore Ravens kicker missed a game-winning field goal cheating? Is it cheating?
Yeah.
Because people want to know.
I mean, that is performance-enhancing drugs. You know what I mean? By the letter of the law. I think that is a substance that had an illicit effect on the game. And I think it should be investigated. No, I'm being facetious. I will share one story if you'll permit.
Oh, always.
I'm from a my last name's Puntori. Like that name with like all vowels. When I talk about how we're Italian all the time. Come from a pretty like Italian Catholic family. Sometimes when I was sick as a child, I would get sore throats a lot and like strep throat all the time. You know what I get a little blessing on my throat with? A little holy water. Bing, bam, boom.
Really?
Yeah.
From like mom and pop or from
Yeah, it would be like legit holy, like, my family would like go to like certain, there's a lot of, and I don't want to speak disrespectfully about anybody's religion or anything like that, but there's a lot of like shrines, places to go that are like blessed, and you can get like holy water from certain places. And I remember there was just holy water from a certain blessed spout and I'd get a little bing bing boom on the throat and and medicine, but yeah, sometimes you get a little blessing on there. So sometimes I'm just saying, might be a little PED is the HW, holy water.
Shout out, dude. I think that guy should show up. I think the father Steeler, we'll call him, should show up every Sunday and bless the field. Because first off, that was awesome. You know what I mean? That was just like cool. It's like, look at these guys just doing their own thing here, just trying it out, seeing if it works. That shows you how dedicated. I say it all the time that the NFL is a wild world when you understand the inner, like the intermingles, the intertwines of what actually happens. And that is a prime example of Art Rooney being like, call a priest, get him here on Sunday night, because we are taking no chances. I want this field blessed.
And he took it so seriously too, that priest. You know what I mean? Like, that was crazy. Like, he was like, this is
dude, you get a phone call from Art Rooney to go. It's not like Art Rooney's assistant called. You know what I mean? Mr. Rooney called, said, hey, father. He probably talked to him on Sunday. He's probably Sunday morning. Hey, I need you to come bless the field tonight.
Give him a little bit of mambo.
He's like, you know what I mean? Could you imagine any Yinzer priest? That's
a dream come true.
That is it, dude. That's what God put you here to do. That guy just fulfilled his mission. That was it. That was
Father Bobby at St. Joseph, the Workers Parish. Like, he canceled mass that morning. 8 a.m. service did not happen because he was blessing the field.
He said, this is what we do. This is what God put me here to do. Shout out, dude. Shout out. That was incredible. That was so much fun to watch. Shout out to the Rooneys and to whoever that priest was. Poke the Ravens' nest salad. Shedeur is literally the worst quarterback in Browns history, and the fans love him. His QBR is under 20. These are the reasons I'm a Steelers fan. You're not wrong. Not wrong here. However, they're gonna rock with is Shedeur coming back? No Kevin Stefanski keeping Shedeur? That happening?
I mean, he's got to at least be in the running next year. Like, what? He's a second-year quarterback. No one was like super impressed with him, right? Like, I don't. You're not beholden to him. You don't have to bring him back, but he's a second-year player. He's young. He has some athletic skills. You know, there's guys who get employed for way longer who are probably a lot worse. So I think you can keep him around, but he's not. They're going to draft a quarterback in the first round, and it's going to be like whoever their new head coach is. It's going to be like the guy that he really wants, his vision, and then they'll take Trinidad Chambliss in the first round, and they'll break your heart. Oh, Ty, yes,
it's going to be Ty Simpson. It's
coming off the bench. That's the guy you want.
Ty Simpson, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders leading the Browns and their new coach. Crazy. Wild. Absolutely wild. Shout out to Shedeur, man. Got through a season. That's all I got to say. John, Dylan Cook has got him a starting left tackle spot. I agree, dude. I agree. There's been this. We are now, and don't get me wrong, the Ravens don't really have the best edge rushers, but the Steelers are 4 games deep of Dylan Cook right now, and there has been 0 moments of not even a worry. There hasn't even been a hiccup of Dylan Cook. Like, the guy has played just, I don't want to say flawless. No offensive lineman plays flawless football, but there has been no glaring hole at left tackle at any moment. To me, that's the guy that you consider to be your starter in 2026. Whether or not they're going to do it, it's up to them. That's who they should consider as their starter, because he has looked great, and he's only 26 years old, which means if he works out, you just found a 26-year-old left tackle.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was very, I was down on him, I think, last week when we talked about like his chances of being the starter next week. Yeah. But I mean, he continues to prove me wrong, right? And the best compliment, and I've heard others give this to him as well, is that you just don't have to talk about him. And it's not because, you want to ignore him. It's because he's just doing his job. Snap in, snap out. You have him. You have Troy Fautanu, who I have talked about ad nauseum this year about being like an elite right tackle. And on that Kenneth Gainwell run, which should have been the like go ahead touchdown, right?
Yeah,
that was Troy Fautanu moving with the grace of a dancer and the strength of a bull, and he's just blocking and clearing the lane for Kenny G. And
was.
it's just incredible what they're getting on both tackle positions right now for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So yeah, shout out Dylan Cook. He is holding it down.
Yeah, 100%. Max, we beat Houston and then we beat Denver. Perfect scenario, in my opinion. Would you rather go Denver or New England in the second round of the playoffs? I mean, we're jumping the gun here, but, the question perceives it.
Yeah, let's
Denver or
get
New
into the thought I say you take New England, and you and it's because it's a refrain you hear from me all the time. Like, I which defense would I rather go up against?
Yep.
It ain't the Broncos. You know what I mean? Like, it is definitely the Patriots when you have to pick between the two. I know Drake May is an MVP candidate, and he's deservingly so, but
For sure.
I'm going to take my chance against that defense, see if you can get the win over them versus that Denver pass rush and secondary is just like vicious. I don't want anything to do with that.
I agree. I think it's too scary. It could cause a lot of problems. Houston is a good example this week. We're going to see how many problems they can cause against the Steelers, and if the Steelers can overcome it. To me, New England's beat up a little bit right now. They got some question marks, some distractions. Drake May's great, but he's also a second-year quarterback, and he is the heart and soul of that team. Bo Nix is not. He is just the quarterback that's leading a very good team. And don't get me wrong, Mike Vrabel's a good coach.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Payton's done this before. You know what I mean? Sean Payton's built scary teams. Vance Joseph has built scary defenses, and I'd go New England. I would. I feel that. I would go New England in the second round over Denver. I think people are overlooking Denver, especially after a game where they didn't look the greatest against backups, but they still won, and the Steelers lost to the Browns a week ago. So these things happen, and you just gotta put everything at a level playing field, and Denver at their best is a very scary football team. King vibes, momentum, and DK back on Monday night. We have more than a chance. Oh, man. I was trying so hard not to do it, but I feel like I have to do it. What's your Monday 1 to 10 odds on the Pittsburgh Steelers beating the Houston Texans a week from now?
You are putting me in a tough spot here because I'm torn between, do I want to stir the pot on a Monday? Do I want to be a little crazy guy? Stir it up. 7.
What? What, a 7?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and listen, I think right now where I sit is streak versus streak. Something's got to give. I'm picking one side, and I think that's why I'm at a 7 out of 10 right now. This could all change. It's Monday, euphoria is coursing through my veins. But
wow.
Yeah, no. I think that's where I'm at right now, man. Where are you? I'm very curious, and I won't hold you to this tomorrow because again, like I'm on a couple of hours of sleep. Noah is on about 3 minutes of sleep.
Yeah,
so
35
I won't,
max.
I don't even know if he's going to remember this episode tomorrow. So I'll give you a little bit of slack, brother. But I'm curious your thoughts.
I appreciate it. This is the first time all day long, actually, that I've felt like a human being. For those of you who don't know, I literally left the game last night at 2:45, picked my wife up, went to the airport, flew to Vegas, did not sleep on the Southwest flight. Shout out to Southwest, who has delicious Oreos that I ate the whole time. Oh, my gosh. Dude, now you got me all wonky because 7 is just such a wild number. Why?
Wonky
I was
donkey
never
right now? That's
seeing
crazy.
7 coming. Never thought. And I was going to go, I thought you were going to say a 3, 3.5, even 5. 7. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'll have to push back a little bit. I'm going to go an even split, 50-50. I'm going to go 5 right now. I gotta sit down. I gotta think about it. I gotta sleep for a couple hours. I gotta breathe. You know what I mean? I gotta do a little looking into who Houston is outside of, the watching them from a distance throughout the season, but not really watching them at all type situation. from there, I'm going 50-50 right now. And I'll tell you this. The only reason I'm not agreeing with your 7 is because, and I don't disagree with it, but the only reason I'm not also at a 7 is because I'm trying so hard not to give in to the emotions. You know what I mean? I'm trying so hard not to do it. I'll go an even split. Got me there. You got me. You definitely were not looking at me when you said that, but my face was, it was
changed.
It was a full, that was a genuine reaction right there. That was a genuine like shock. So I
had to debate that. You know what I mean? Like in my head, I was like, because I think a 5 is like where we should all be, right? Like if we consider ourselves rational beings, you know, we're a week out. It is completely up in the air. It's a coin flip. But I don't know. There was just, as we talked about so much in this episode, like there was just something about that win. And I wrote about this last night too. It's like you should not be. There's no reason to consider them anything close to front runners. But you just saw, you know, teams that win in the playoffs, sometimes you get a little lucky and you're like, man, maybe, just maybe. So I think that's where I'm still at today. So we'll see how it changes over the rest of the week. If I forget later in the week and I say I'm at like a Puntori 4, I'm going to be annoyed that everyone's like, why'd you go from a 7 to a 4? And I'll be like, I didn't even do that. I'll just lie.
I don't even know what you're talking about, dude. Couldn't even tell you. ND Joe, Noah, if you touched on this earlier, I apologize, brother. No apologies needed. Did the press room go absolutely nuts after the wide right kick? You told us in the past that you need to keep your emotions in check there. It was, it's so hard to explain. So you can't cheer and you have to become unbiased. Like I root for the players. You know what I mean? Like, and people take this as like, no, you're not a Steelers fan. I'm not a fan of anything. I can't be. I'm not allowed to be. It's part of my career. But I'm a fan of the play. Like, I love walking into that locker room and getting to be like, Calvin, tell me about that play, man. That was awesome. I'm so happy for you. You know what I mean? I love walking in there and seeing Alex Highsmith double fisting Stokes and him look at you and like give you a big smile. Like, that's the stuff that makes you, that's who you're rooting for when you do this kind of stuff. And everybody feels the same way. So you're like, you know, you're not rooting for the Steelers, you're rooting for the players, but you want the players to succeed. And obviously they coincide. So that happens. And it is not like a scream. You're like, we're right behind the crowd. So everybody's going nuts, obviously, but it's more like just like somebody said like, oh, he missed it. And everybody's like, oh, and that was kind of it. Like, oh my God. Like, it was just like a sudden shot. It was like when Jacob said a 7. That's what it was. It was like, everybody's face just dropped. And it was just like, oh my God, what just happened? And that lasts about 14 seconds before everybody immediately goes, we all just wrote stories about how they lost this game. Oh my God. And then you have to immediately turn focus to getting the game story out. So it was awesome. But the better emotion part, ND Joe, if you weren't here for it, was going into the locker room and seeing the emotions and, you know, walking up to Calvin and saying like, Calvin, you got a minute? He's like, I got time for everybody. And I was like, this is awesome. This is so cool. Seeing TJ come out with a big smile in the shirt is just, you know, it's just cool. That was the emotion of like, the moment in the game was crazy. And I love a good atmosphere. They had a good atmosphere. In the locker room was just so awesome, dude. I wish everybody could experience that just once. It makes you think like I need to experience a Super Bowl because that would be so awesome. So awesome.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah. Duff K Metcalf returns. Shout out to Duff. 3 things that actually give me confidence next week. 1, the offense gets instantly 10 times better with DK back. 2, the Texans in a game they needed and played all their starters, still gave up 30 points to a team playing like nothing. Look at Riley Leonard, bro. Huh?
Was there a third thing?
If there was, I apologize, Duff. But I think the 2 were pretty strong. Do you take away Houston, you know, tight game to good old Riley Leonard? on Sunday afternoon. Does it mean anything to you?
Well, I think it shows you something, right? I don't think it tells you, it paints the clearest picture, because the Texans were going in there, I don't know, not preparing for the worst in terms of their competition, but there certainly is a difference in preparation whenever you are the Steelers and Ravens playing for your AFC North divisional title versus the Texans, who are just trying to get through week 18 and figure out what seeding they're going to have in the playoffs. I don't think it is representative of what this defense can do. But it does provide a lot of tape about, hey, maybe there are some holes here that, a team playing their B squad showed us and we can take advantage of. That's going to be the key. So I think there's great reason for confidence, right? But it's going to be a defensive battle in my mind either way. And I think what the Texans have done throughout the 2025 season, that body of work, is more representative of what you can sort of expect from that group on Monday Night Football.
I agree. Duff's got another one here. I did miss this one with a rookie quarterback making his first start. Shout out Riley Leonard. They gave us an 8 p.m. Monday home game. We do not lose on Monday Night Football games. I agree with you. I think the best way to go into this week is to erase everything that happened in the regular season and say, what are these teams at their best and who can they compete with? And I think Houston can compete with anybody. I think the Steelers can compete with anybody. I think all of these teams can compete with anybody. And that makes it exciting, but a fair playing field. And then you just look at it and say, are the fans going to show up? Is this going to be like Sunday night? Because our Sunday night was nuts. That stadium was crazy. It was rocking. It was fun. If you could do that again, if the stadium could do that one more time, I think there's a chance. I really do. I also want to give a shout out to the fans here, because did you see my to-go yesterday or not my to-go, my walkover was our fans showing up like nobody's here, dude. And I showed up late. I was like less than 2 hours away from kickoff, and there was just nobody there. I was wrong. I was 100% wrong. They were there full force. So if they could show up, I mean, it adds to me, that's the advantage. It has nothing to do with what happened in the regular season. It's, can you have home field advantage? Can that be a real thing? And it's Acrisure Stadium. Like, yeah, you definitely can.
That was truly, and I was texting you last night during it, because I was like, and I was asking, what does it sound like in there? Because from what you're hearing on the broadcast, it felt like one of those rare times, at least lately, where Acrisure Stadium is like truly rocking. And that was just like such a regularity for so many years, but it feels like it has to, maybe for good reason, the fans in the building have not really responded as well at times to the Pittsburgh Steelers over the past couple of years. But boy, oh boy, they were doing their part, last night. So credit to the home crowd. If they're going to bring that again, like, that's the energy that the team feeds off of. So, yes, everything was working so well in that regard.
And they're going to need it throughout the entire postseason. Cody Silva, if God's real, he's a Steelers fan. That should be a t-shirt. I don't think we could sell that t-shirt, but that should be
Steelers fan.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. Chris Kenny, it was a pleasure meeting you Sunday. Go Steelers. My guy, shout out, Chris. It was great to meet you. It was great to meet everybody. I ran into about 8-9 people Saturday into Monday morning. Yeah, it's always a pleasure, guys. Like, it always makes my whole day. You guys have no idea. Whenever you guys say what's up, it's just great to meet you guys. Chris, I'm glad I know you enjoyed it. You know what I mean? You had a good energy going into it. I know you had a good day. It was a pleasure meeting you too, my friend. Lance, if we beat the Texans, how far do you think we can go? Oh, man. Look, at every game is a crapshoot. It is what are you going to do? So I'll say I think that they could go as far as their ability lets them go. Do they show up and play great football every week? Then they could compete with every team in the AFC, but they're going to have to do that. And can they do that? I think only time's going to tell.
Yeah. That's like a beautifully diplomatic way of putting it. I'll give my answer. I've been very, very positive right? If we beat the Texans,
Yeah.
I think realistically, their playoff, run likely ends in the divisional round. That's just my gut feeling, right? I think getting over the hump is a huge thing in terms of ending the playoff drought.
Yeah.
I don't know. That feels like a big win for the season, and that feels like just enough to keep the saga continuing. That is Mike Tomlin with the Steelers, which is just our bread and butter. Bring it on.
Everyone comes back if that happens. Every
100%.
single person comes
100%.
back if that happens.
Mhm.
And Danny Smith, Najigba, hardest part about being a Steelers fan is telling my parents I'm in a toxic relationship with a 53-year-old man named Mike Tomlin. Love him and hate him. And you're not wrong. And if next time you explain this to them, you should just leave out the Mike Tomlin part and just say it's a really tough, like kind of, narcissistic relationship with this 53-year-old man. He's always confident. Sometimes he's saying things about my family members that I don't even understand, but I think it's derogatory. I just, I don't really know, but he hurts. And then when they ask,
call me fat, I didn't like that.
Yeah. And then when they're like, Danny, tell me more, just show them this.
I can't give you all the ingredients to the hot dog. You might not like it.
It answers all questions. It answers all questions. It's true. It's true, my friend.
Who put the comment in one of our shows the other day?
I think it was Carl Spackler. I don't want to get that wrong. If it was, and I apologize.
So good. The ingredients of the hot dog will be revealed on his tombstone. That was the great. I could hardly compose myself reading that.
It's so awesome. It was spot on. Rats. Mute was huge, not as good as I said earlier in the week. Hope we keep it up. But let me hear again how Scotty Miller is still catching footballs. Look at dude. Scotty played a couple of snaps. Okay. Scotty did his thing a couple of times out there. If you're throwing a Pat Fryermuth, I have no complaints. I have none. If your game plan is Pat Fryermuth over the rest of your tight ends, well, I only asked for one thing, and you did that. And that's, I'm not going to, can't have your cake and eat it too. I'm okay with that. I'm happy. Yeah. Roman's not going to play again this season, though.
No, I think he's probably done with the Steelers. That's tough.
It's tough. Shout out Scotty, though. He did catch a football, I think.
Did he have a reception last night?
I think he had one. He might have had two, but I think he definitely had one. And that's a guy that's,
what a guy.
He's doing things. He's doing things. And
wait. Oh, he had two receptions. You don't look, Noah. I swear, if you this blatant false journalism,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it.
Unreal.
Not to Scotty.
Scotty doesn't know that he caught two passes.
Two passes, dude. Shout out to Scotty. Rats got another one for us. I think John, who got pushed to the back of the bus when he was wide open and Rodgers overthrew him. Possibly he didn't run the right route, or A-Rod thought he should have caught it. I agree with you on this. I think that was the moment that the Steelers went, put Pat on the field right now and don't take him off, which I don't care how it happened, as long as it happened. That play, though, to me, I don't know. I gotta know. I gotta know what the situation, because Jonnu stops running, but Jonnu's also so wide open that I don't know what the thought process is there. Is he supposed to sit in the zone and say, I'm here, throw me the football? And did Aaron Rodgers just throw it 10 yards over his head? Or did he stop running? I got to know that, because in the moment, I thought it was at Aaron. When I look back, I said, Jonnu, stop running. I think there's got to be more detail to that we do not know.
Yeah, I truly just, I don't think it matters. There was so much space and time that I just think Aaron Rodgers should have just made the throw. It doesn't I don't know. And again, that's what I'm like. There were these moments throughout the game and really throughout the first half and part of the third quarter, I guess, too, So most of the game, actually, now that I'm speaking it out loud, where the Steelers offense just continued to look timid, right? And like
Yes.
just could not take advantage of the opportunities that the defense was giving them. And that was like the most egregious one by a mile. I'm sure there were some equal parts miscommunication there, equal parts Jonnu Smith probably should have been running his route a little deeper, a little, you know what I mean? Like there was something off about that. But at the end of the day, that was not a lot of the times Aaron Rodgers, I think, is very it's not his fault whenever a receiver has run the wrong route and the ball is just like off the mark. I think that was a situation where your quarterback just needs to put the ball in the receiver's hands, and it just didn't happen. So, that was my view of that play. But either way, more opportunity for Pat Fryer.
I was going to say, dude, worked in his favor. Shout out to Aaron.
Welcome to Aaron. Yeah. I might have been a little like, hey, Johnny, you run that little 10-yard route and he throws a 20. You know what I mean?
88 on the field right now. It worked. It worked. Philip, can we talk about the 2 bad calls on 4th down? The game should have ended differently had we kicked a field goal at the end of the first half. I mean, yeah, they're shooting for a touchdown there at the end. Okay. I don't have any issue with going for it in a do-or-die game at the 1-yard line at the end of the first half. I have zero issue with that. My issue is you came out of a timeout and ran that play. That is what you chose to do here. Just what? It's the same thing as Aaron at the goal line. I think it was the next time they were down at the goal line, calls a timeout when they're standing there with 1 second left, when all you go is just snap it and hand it to Jalen Warren. And if he gets 1 yard, who cares? You're at the 4-yard line. Like, just run the football. And then they call a timeout. And then they run a play where they hand it to Jalen Warren and he gets 1 yard. And you're going, you could have did that and saved the timeout. So I think there were a couple of questionable ones. The 4th down one, it's the play. I put none of that on Tomlin. I put all of that on Arthur Smith. What did you call there, brother? Because it was terrible. The decision, I respect the decision, to be really honest.
I think you had to, I would have made the same choice. They had to go for the touchdown there on that fourth down play to close out the first half. The play call was atrocious. You know what I mean? Like you come out, you see exactly like Baltimore's like, you know what? We're going to load up this would have been the viewer's left side, the bottom of the screen. Like they were going to load it up there, and the Steelers just come out, look at it, take a second, and then just run right in that direction. And it's like, I'm sure everyone, as they broke the huddle, was like, this is not going to work. Please audible, please do. But no, you just got to do it, and this is where, and we've been so positive today. I don't want to be such a negative Nancy, but like those like timeouts being called, those sort of like game mismanagement things, like those are the things that really do scare me in terms of their playoff run. Like that's what's going to end your season, right? Is because you don't have enough time left in that final drive and you don't have a way to stop the clock. Like they're lucky that they were able to get around it. And Aaron Rodgers said after the game that they don't have a ton of plays that they could have called when they were in that specific personnel set when he called that timeout. Frankly, I just think that's stupid. I don't buy, like, just say, we watched the mic'd up where he just told Kenneth Gainwell to just go run down the field.
Yes,
you're telling me you couldn't have at least just been like, oh, let's just get a playoff. Let's just do something. Like, I don't know. We're football players, right?
Like anything. I agree. A second half. What? Like, look at. I don't know. I gotta ask questions. He's not gonna give me answers, but they're there. Double R. Does the win last night mean another year of Arthur Smith, or does he need a playoff win? I got a little sick to my stomach with this thought. I think he needs a playoff win. I think he needs a playoff win. I don't think he's safe. He's got another year on his contract, so it's easy to keep him back. However, you get smoked in the first round of the playoffs, everybody leaves, and I think Tomlin's, on the line as well as like maybe he heads out of here, maybe he doesn't. Arthur Smith and the coordinators, I think, are definite if you don't win a playoff game. Now, if you win a playoff game,
they're all back.
Everybody's back, dude, and it sucks, but everybody's back. So, take with that as you will, cry as you must, and it's tough. But you got to deal with it. Duff K, Metcalf returns. Any idea how pricey tickets will be for Monday night? I do not. I would imagine they were crazy. They were $50 last night going into the game. $50.
Oh yeah, someone sent that in our Slack.
Yeah, dude. Crazy.
We were like, we're carpool.
Yeah. As not my brother-in-law and my father-in-law went, they paid like $210 a ticket. I said, dude, sell them right now to some scalper. Go spend $50. You know what I mean? That's crazy. I don't know. I expect them to be expensive. I definitely expect them to be expensive. I know I love Will Howard. Have we mentioned the difference between aunts and uncles yet? We have.
If my grandma had 2 wheels, she'd be a bicycle. You know what I mean?
They say. Bert, shout out to Bert in the background. All right, with that, we're gonna end it. Best
get out of here, guys.
Best line of the press conference. ND Joe, the kick should be called the divine deviation. That's a good one, actually. That's a real good one, dude. Shout out, because the priest and the holy water and the missed field goal on the same side. Shout out, my guy. That's a good one. Rasta Pasta Salad gifting 5 All Steelers Talk memberships. Appreciate you, my dude. Thank you so much. If you snag one, make sure to call into the call-in show on Wednesday. Sean, it almost looked like Rodgers was trying to throw deep to MVS, but he was winding up. He changed his mind last second and tried throwing to Jonnu. If that is the case, that's way worse, because Jonnu was wide open. And MVS was not, nor did he look good last night. So I hope that's not the case. I truly hope that's not the case.
Same.
Interstellar. Jalen Ramsey got cooked as safety. Should the Steelers move him back to corner and draft or trade for a top 10 safety in 2026 with Mr. Rodgers' legacy? I don't know what you do with Jalen Ramsey right now, but I'll be honest, he is your worst defensive player the last 2 weeks. And that's a defense that includes a lot of wild names. He is your worst defensive player. I'll say it. He's the worst guy you got in your starting lineup right now for the Steelers, which is crazy.
Odd Pro Bowl choice, if you ask me.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, the transition to safety looked so seamless and smooth at first, and man, I don't know if there's just like too much he's being asked to sort of make up the difference on, but it just seems like he is just having a really hard time playing the quote unquote like center field position as the safety. Like he just lets people get behind him all the time. It's all like it's like the only thing he can't do in that role. And he's just like watching the ball.
That's exactly what he's always trying to make a play. I'm like, bro, just back up. Just back up. You have 1 goal. Don't give up a touchdown. If you do that, you messed up the goal. And he's just like, nah, dude, I'm going to go get the quarterback. I'm like, that's the last thing you should be doing. Stop it. I agree, dude. I have no idea what's going on with Jalen. What I do know is he is not playing well. And you got to keep him there. But it's also crazy that is your second most expensive defender, and he is your worst defensive player. That is. And you're not going to move. What are you going to move him for? James Pierre, Brandon Cook? Both those guys look great. Why are you taking them off the field? To punish them for a guy who doesn't look good right now? To put Chuck Clark out there? Can't do that either. It's just a lose-lose.
Yeah, give me Chucky.
It's all lose-lose. Danny Smith and the Jig, but the priest will get a helmet before Roman Wilson.
It's true.
It's probably true. Steeler chick, NFL did us a favor with our game Monday night. Texans are gonna freeze. I wonder if she means freeze as in freeze or freeze as in freeze. You know what I mean? Because if it's cold, if it's chilly,
it's gonna be so chilly. It's gonna be so chilly.
Do you think you think weather plays a factor into this or no?
No, I'm sure it's going to be a talking point all week, but like CJ Stroud is like, we talk about this all the time when it comes to like cold weather and stuff. Like a lot of these guys play in cold weather environments in college. Like he went to Ohio State. Like
true.
It's a little chilly down Columbus.
Once in a while, it snows there.
The horseshoe gets a little chilly, so I think he'll be fine. Yeah, I'm not. I think again it'll be a talking point. I don't think it's going to be a huge factor in the outcome of the game.
Yeah, Yeah, I know, Level Howard. If Rodgers doesn't burn all the timeouts when he did, I know Tomlin would use one to ice loop on his kick. Let's think about that for a second. True. Good point here. It all happens for a reason, guys. It all happens for a reason.
Because he's a Steelers fan.
The divine deviation had to happen exactly how it had to happen. Shout out. No Coast Golf. What a time to be an AST member. Happy to be here. Let's keep it rolling. Shout out my guy. Saw a comment that you got off the plane for a little late night Steelers victory. That's the way to do it. Congratulations, brother. Appreciate you as always. Enigma After Dark. That's why we have the best rivalry in football. What didn't this game have? I love our chances in the wide open AFC with our favorite Enigma's Enigma. Shout out my guy. I mean, I agree. And that leads us perfectly into Lindsay's question here. Victory Monday. Noah and Jacob, what was your favorite part of the game?
That final 10 minutes of the entire game, like that.
Yes.
I don't know how, as a fan, it is probably everything you're hoping for, right? Like it, especially when your team comes out on top, like you could feel, we're working on. Shout out to our boy Ari, who's writing the game story for
Dude, the
Steelers
text
on
message
SI.
thread between me and him was nuts.
I'm sure, man, because we're all, we're all going back and forth. We were all working on different stories. You're like, oh well, so we're trying to attend to all of those things. And then you're just watching it and you're like, oh my gosh, there's something else. Whoa, my gosh, there's something else. They scored again. Oh my! So it was just the fact that it was just so exciting, nonstop,
Yes.
back and forth, like. That was just entertaining football to close out a regular season. Like, bravo NFL regular season. That for me was incredible. Noah, do you have anything different besides, was post game your favorite part, you think?
Post game for me was my favorite part. But that's because, that was a once in a lifetime opportunity. The last time they won it was during 2020 and I wasn't able to be in the locker room because of COVID. So this was an experience, but it just kind of it just got me fired up for the next experience. So I would say that, but the like you said, the text message thread was like this title. Oh my gosh, nope, this title. Oh my gosh. And then Ari's texting me going, what do I use for the picture? I'm like, I just leave it blank for right now. I have no idea what to do right now. This is crazy. It was nuts. He was like, I was trying to help him. I'm writing pieces. He's writing pieces. It was awesome. So I agree with you. I think the last 10 minutes was just every football fan's dream of what a great Sunday night football, all eyes on the television type game should be. Lance, good afternoon. What's more likely, we win our first playoff game since 2016 or we lose our first Monday night home game since 1992? Is a big one. It's a big one. And was going to be asked on Wednesday, but will now be asked today.
I think we should ask this question again on Wednesday.
Okay.
But my answer on Monday is the drought be done. And so again, I think we should talk about this again on Wednesday just to see how the dust settles. But I don't know. I think I'm going the drought. Taking the
All
drought.
right. I will not answer this, and I will let you ask me on Wednesday, and I will give you my answer then. Cody Silva, is Aaron Rodgers a Super Bowl quarterback?
Maybe. We'll see if this young scrappy kid has it.
Calvin Austin is Super Bowl wide receiver. That's all I'm saying. Shout out Calvin Austin, that wide open touchdown. Beautiful stuff. Maddie, and we are just simply going to answer this with one word because we have plans to talk about this week. Hear me out. Raheem Morris as next defensive coordinator. Yes.
Light bulb,
Ian's or Jake, what do you guys think of the AFC North champion shirts? I snagged one up last night after the game. I actually liked them. Been there, won that. I was a big fan. I kind of liked it. It was new.
Yeah, that was clever. A little punchy. I like it.
For sure. Somber. The Texans have never won an away playoff game. Add to it all. The storyline continues. We'll see what happens.
How exciting.
We'll see what happens. Macaroni salad. Watson and his $87 million cap hit will be back for the Browns next year. Shadur versus Gabriel versus Watson
versus Shadashawn. That's crazy.
Terrible.
That's crazy.
Terrible. That's the wildest, worst quarterback battle in the NFL. Easy.
Going to
Shout out
Cleveland.
to that guy. With primetime as the Browns head coach, oh my gosh, dude. We might have to move to Cleveland, start covering the Browns.
I'm applying for credentials if primetime's the head coach with Shadur running it back. 100%.
Jacob isn't even going to be here on Sundays or Mondays anymore. He will only be in Cleveland. Always.
All Cleveland talk.
All Cleveland talk. Ryan, I see you at the New York Hotel. This place is awesome, dude. Shout out to these guys. Last time I stayed off the strip. This time I'm on the strip, and it's super dope.
I see you in room 704 at the New York Hotel.
I was going to show you guys my view, but it's literally just a bunch of HVAC equipment outside my window, so we're going to keep that shut.
Nice.
And we're gonna finish it off here with tortilla.
Tortia.
Tortilla. It's definitely, but it's tortilla.
Definitely tortilla.
Noah, don't get Boz traded. We got to address something here, brother. Chris Boswell does not look good right now. Does not. And it is very concerning, I think.
Very concerning. This is not the time to have doubts or questions or anything like that about your kicker going into the postseason. So it's worrisome. You know, he is a serial killer. There's no doubt about it. But can he regain that form? You know,
dude, he is Dexter in like the later seasons right now.
He's
like
later.
You're starting to see the mistakes happening. He's getting a little bit too comfortable. He's got a kid. He's making mistakes. Boz, clean it up. I agree with you. And it's very concerning. Don't think you could elaborate on what's going wrong because it's a kicker. Guy shows up, kicks 2 footballs, and leaves. I think it's because I watched him pull out in a new car instead of his ginormous truck the other day at practice. Just saying.
Oh, that's definitely it. Yeah.
That's
I mean,
like,
yes.
Your kicker should drive the biggest truck in the parking lot. And he was pulling off in like a Dodge Durango or something. And I was like, that's not a Chris Boswell car. Do you look like you're in a mom car? Get out of there. What are you doing? We're 2 days away from kickoff. Crazy. All right, guys. With that said, we're heading out of here. Thank you so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk here on a Victory Monday. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/All Steelers Talk. Check us out anywhere you get your podcasts. As always, find all our work at si.com/NFL/Steelers. Before you head out of here, hit this like and subscribe button. Can't thank you guys enough. And we'll be back tomorrow. Until then, enjoy another beautiful day in the Berg. Peace.